In this episode of Aging Unscripted, we'll learn from those on the front lines of combating frauds and scams. Hear about the most common scams hitting adults over age 60 and how you and your loved ones can recognize and prevent devastating fraud losses. Welcome to Aging Unscripted, a podcast with a different perspective on aging. Here we explore a wide range of topics aimed at celebrating, supporting, exploring, and honoring the aging journey. I'm Jill Vitale-Aussem, and I am privileged to serve as the president and CEO at Christian Living Communities, a nonprofit senior living organization based in Denver, Colorado. In studio with me today is Pam Sullivan.
Hello, everyone.
And Pam is our Vice President of Communications and Philanthropy. And we have another very special guest with us today, and that is Jamie Sorrells. And Jamie is the Director of Consumer Protection and Community Engagement for the Office of the District Attorney of the 18th Judicial District here in Colorado.
That is some title, Jamie.
It is a long title. That's a good one. That's a good title. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for joining us today. This is such an important conversation. And you had shared a statistic with us from the FBI that Colorado is ranked 8th in the country for the number of reported consumer fraud crimes for people over the age of 60. And we were really surprised to hear that.
That's a lot.
And there's probably a lot more that are unreported. So let's just jump in. Why do you think that is? Why do we have so much fraud going on or reported fraud?
Right. And again, these are just numbers 2024 that were reported. So those are not reports to the Federal Trade Commission. It's not to other law enforcement agencies. This was just FBI.
Okay.
And clearly the states in front of us are much more populated, at New York, at Pennsylvania, Florida, what have you. But we have a very large silver senior population here in Colorado. It also tends to be a fairly affluent state in the country. And so the criminals, or the dark side, they recognize that. They understand our population base here and the demographics. So we're just have become a pretty big target right there. And we have more and more people that are age 60 and that are just moving here for good quality of life.
And we say scams and fraud. What are we talking about? I mean, when you hear crime, it could be anything.
Right.
But scams and frauds, what are those?
Well, I mean, it's simple. It's really it's deception, it's manipulation, social engineering is really what it is. And it's really what they're trying to do, these criminals, is because it really doesn't matter what the scam is. It really doesn't. Whether it's a lottery, grandparent, romance, even a face-to-face in person. At the end of the day, their model is very simple. They already have a lot of information on you, more than people care to recognize. And they're just trying to finish the equation for a short or long-term financial gain.
What's your role in all that? What do you do in your, what's your everyday work? How do you?
Well, I wear a lot of hats, but in relation to the title that you read, so obviously community engagement. So I'm very outward facing. I'm out in the community a good bit. And so the 18th Judicial District is primarily Arapahoe County. But on the consumer protection side, I'm out 2, 3, 4 times a week, giving presentations, often to our senior groups. These could be senior communities, these could be senior activity centers, but I go to different Rotaries. I go to the Kiwanis, and we try to get into the schools as well. But it seems like a lot of my time really is revolving around our senior population.
Why is that a target? Older people?
So the reason why, and this is how I typically start my presentations, the reason why those over 60 seniors are targets. One is, not always, but typically they have a higher degree of discretionary income or assets, definitely compared to our kids, grandkids. And so the dark side knows that. That's what they're after. They're after some type of financial reward. The other reason is this demographic tends to be retired or they're at home. So there's a very good chance that they're sitting in front of an iPad or their desktop or their phone is right there. So it's very easy for, especially now with the technology, for all these attacks, so to speak, to be generated towards a particular IP address or phone number or what have you. The other reason is this group really has a weaker understanding of technology compared to some of the other age demographics. And so they'll take full advantage of that. Like they may hear me go out, a group may hear me come out and give a talk, and they feel empowered to do better with their passwords and antivirus software, what have you. Then out of the blue comes a call solicitation from ABC technology company here to help get your passwords in order. And it's really just a criminal operation. The other thing about this group, two more things. One is this group tends to be much more trusting, has a higher degree of respect for authority. For example, if they see an area code come through on their phone that's 202, this generation tends to know that that's Washington, D.C.
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so
know that.
they're gonna take that call. Oh, this must be important. This is a federal agency. But it could be their priest, their rabbi, or something like that. They were just raised to say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, to talk less, listen more. So they're going to give these criminals ample time to talk to them. And the saddest reason that they're targets, and unlike the other age demographics, is this group tends to have incidents of cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's, and that's the perfect target for them. That's the perfect target because it's very easy to manipulate them and take them from here to here. So those are some of the bigger reasons why this age group tends to be a big target.
You had mentioned that criminals get to know you and they use that information against you. My example of that, my mother-in-law was targeted, and they imitated my son being in jail. Called her at 2 a.m. and had his name, said that he had been arrested and that he needed bail money.
Right.
And she, was like, oh my gosh, that's my grandson. I need to take care of him. So how often, how do they get that? How did they connect my son to her in 2 different states?
Right.
And have her phone number.
And have her phone number. And know that he's in an age demographic where he might be out and about, at a bar. He's 26 years old.
But not in jail. They knew he would be in jail.
But, how did that all come together? It just blew my mind.
Right. There's a lot of public information that even marketing groups have access to. So there's public information. Data breaches, and hacks happen much more often than people care to more than they know. And that includes the credit bureaus. 2 of the 3 credit bureaus have been breached. And often there's a big gap before it's realized that there's a breach. Government gets hacked all the time. Healthcare gets hacked all the time. So there's already a lot of information out there. And of course, technology continues to grow and improve, and it does make our lives, easier. But now you have these different software programs that can extract this information much faster than someone can do manually. AI is a big topic in a range of just a lot of different areas. But now through this technology, they are capturing a grandson's voice or someone's voice, even their faces. And then
That's what's
kind of
freaky. Yeah.
and it can be pushed back. And so you really do think that you were talking to a relative, little Johnny, the nephew, grandson back in Virginia. And a lot of this happened, during COVID when we were locked at home.
Yeah.
But
That's exactly when it happened.
okay. Okay. So there's so much of you already out there. They're just trying to get a little bit more to do something with it. Again, a short or long-term financial gain. Most people honestly don't fall victim to the grandparent scam. What I don't like, and people in this age group loves to share stories, which I want them to continue to do that, is they know it's not true. It sounds good. It sounds very true, but they know that this is a criminal on the other side, but they stay on the phone and try to play with them. And that's not a good thing, because often this dark side, these are sophisticated criminal operations that have the technology around, like romance scams, or really any kind of scam. Understand, especially if they're pretending to be like a federal agent, Social Security, stuff like that. They know so much about you, and they have a team next to them, and they're prepared to take any kind of pushback that you give them. If you're trying to make sure they understand, that each other, they can finish the equation. They can tell you, So often if you stay on the phone, they're going to extract so much more information out of you. And more than likely, they're going to be able to extract some type of money out of you as well.
Well, so even if you're on to the person, just get off the phone. Don't keep having the conversation.
Right.
Then they get more.
Well, a lot of people are arrogant. They're like, I can never be scammed. I'm not going to fall for this. But they get off the call and they realize, I actually said more than I should have.
Yeah.
The fact that they answered in the first place tells the criminal operation that there's a live body, a live person, an active email or phone number on the other side. So you're just going to get more. There's going to be more attempts on you and your accounts. And the other thing is people need to understand this. Even if this is coming from a call center overseas, if you upset them and you cross them through technology, they can be extremely vindictive. They could set up a 911 call at your residence and wreck your evening.
Okay.
And create a lot of other problems.
Sounds like mobs.
Don't
cross it.
Like I said, now you see, you'll get a text and and it's somebody trying to scam. So don't just delete it and block it.
Well, the best thing is you're right.
Right.
And that's
and don't and hang up the phone and
cover it then as-
don't play games.
well, just don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
I all the presentations that I do, I tell people, just don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. I mean, if you know it's your daughter, if you know it's your son, don't take it. Let it go to voicemail. It may or may not. If it's important, they'll leave a message. But now these are computer software programs leaving the messages. So you're not at risk at listening to a voicemail. And you can often tell if it's a scam or not, but also gives you time to talk to a family member, to a friend. Does this make sense? Have you gotten this, before? So it's best just let it go to voicemail. And same thing with like emails and texts. If they're coming out of the blue,
The text thing, they're
don't
hot heavy
follow
these
the
days.
suggestions that the text or email is telling you to do. Like click on this link to verify.
Don't.
Or call this number. So if you think it could be true, maybe it's not true. Again, assess the landscape, go Google it. If it's a charity, go to the Secretary of State's website, a charity navigator, make sure they're even registered, in the state. But if it's coming out of nowhere, you are at risk to call that number, which is probably going to go to a fake customer service. If you click on a link, it could upload some pretty nasty software to your device. It just puts you at risk.
Yeah.
So it's just ignore and delete.
And isn't it so sad? Because you used to be nice, respond, accommodate, all that. And what I'm hearing is protect yourself. Take a beat before you respond and really think about it.
Right.
So it's really changing how we interact with each other a little bit.
It is. And so with all my presentations, I always start at a high level. I talk about why seniors, I talk about the demographics. Because what I want people to understand is themselves. Because what's happening is someone is knocking at their door. They're knocking on their phone via text, via email, as a phone call. It could be U.S. Postal. But suddenly you're having to make a decision. We make decisions all day, every day, to do or not to do, to buy or not to buy. So I'll ask people, think back. It could be scam related. It could be something else where you felt guilt, where you reacted too quickly. Because I want them to understand when they're merely reacting, which is an impulse, a knee-jerk reaction. Because when they do that, especially in this space, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to end up some place that you don't want to be. Or you can take more of a responsive approach and sit back and assess the landscape. I used that term a few minutes ago. And understand what's in front of you. Because nothing is urgent. Nothing has to happen right now. No one should be on the other side yelling at you, threatening you. Understand what's being presented to you at your doorstep. And so you could be researching, like I said. It could just be talking it out. There's a lot of things you can do. I use an illustration. I'm a very visual person. It's a ball of twine, all balled up. And then it's not as balled up and less and then there's an arrow. So I tell people, think about this. Say you get a call from Social Security, which these federal agencies never call you or email you. And so you have really no assets, no income other than Social Security, your deposit. All of a sudden you're getting this call from them saying there's a problem. You're not going to get your deposit. You need to talk to us right now. Well, if that's all that you have, you're very limited.
Yeah.
You're like that ball of twine. You're not thinking clearly. Your emotions all over the place. It's very hard to make a decision. But if you take that responsive approach and assess everything, then at the end, you're at that tip of that arrow and you still may mess up. You may trip because the dark side's really good, but you're going to have a much better idea of what to do or not to and what direction to go in. So there's a big difference in just reacting versus doing your homework.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people to do, is as you understand yourself.
Yeah, and that's
Like
what they
that,
do
yeah.
is try to make you fearful, right? And you've got to act now. And so,
Right.
yeah.
But it could be the opposite side. It
Right.
could be love. It's
Right.
not always
Yeah.
what we call negative emotions. It could
Yeah.
be some of the positive.
So really understanding your own behaviors.
Right.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about the dark side and people we don't know, but older adults are often victims of crimes from people they do know, family crime. Talk to us a little bit about how to recognize. I mean, we see it in what we do, where there are family members taking advantage of their loved ones. How would Jill and I recognize, or a friend, neighbor recognize that somebody is a victim of a family crime?
And it happens a lot. So what I do, we also have an economic crime unit. So we get a lot of calls from individuals where the child is tired of waiting for their inheritance. And maybe mom and dad are starting to experience cognitive decline. And so a POA is suddenly changed or something like that. So we do handle a lot of those cases that could be very criminal, in nature. But what you asked, what are some of the signs? Well, if from an account standpoint, let's just use that. If there's an abrupt change that you weren't a part of, that's a good sign that someone close to you has used your information to make a change. There's emotional manipulation is another big one. There's comments like, you've just gotten to this age where you're just not competent. And so we're going to step in, or I'm going to step in and take this over. It could be a matter of guilt that is being placed on them. Like, if you don't do this, it's really going to hurt me and my kids. And if it's suddenly everything's done in secrecy, where don't tell anybody else, don't tell your brothers, don't tell your sister, that's a big sign. And then if you just start to notice things that you didn't authorize in your credit report or financial statements, that's a sign that someone is stepping in and doing something against your will.
Wow.
But this is where you need to understand they're still your accounts. And people should more often actually pull in an attorney, pull in a lawyer to talk about the change. If the change needs to be made, there needs to be that discussion. It needs that set of independent eyes to look at what's going on. And so when an adult, there's several things an adult can do. Is one is maybe you don't have somebody else on the account with you. Another thing is maybe you share with all family members what the status is and what your intentions are. So that way, if one person is trying to keep it a secret, it's no longer a secret. Everyone's on the same page. It's unfortunate if everyone's a bad actor, but normally by sharing it with everyone else is a greater way to protect you. Use an attorney, especially for bigger matters.
Yep.
And don't be afraid of don't be afraid of hurting feelings. You're looking out for yourself. I think that's a big thing.
No one's going to look after your money better than you.
Right.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
What about what is retail crime? You had mentioned that to us. What is that?
It's a lot of things, So I'll give you a very general response, and then I'll talk about what anyone, especially seniors, can do in a retail setting. So retail crime is basically shoplifting. It's theft. And Colorado has a lot of very, very high numbers around retail theft. And a lot of the time it is organized crime. It could be a drug industry. And this is how they supplement their revenue stream.
So is this with consumers? They're being targeted?
So just retail theft.
Yeah.
It's a big topic with the Attorney General's office, with all the other law
Well,
enforcement.
it's also the gift cards is part of it.
Well, right. But on a bigger level, there's a lot of theft of just big merchandise. Adams County has some of the highest numbers. Jefferson County, Denver, El Paso, Arapahoe, and Douglas had pretty high numbers too. But again, all these are pretty much right here on the front ring. So it's just pure theft. Where they're running out of these stores with carts and carts of big merchandise that's being resold. So, but in a retail setting for the individual.
Like an older adult, is there risk there or?
Well, first of all, so use a credit card. There's greater protections with a credit card than a debit card. Definitely use a credit card on gas pumps. Because by pulling,
I always use my
I do
debit card.
too. See, we learned something.
well, it's easier to dispute. And skimmers are still being, so there's a hardware device called a skimmer that can be inserted in the slots where the machine reads your information, but so does the skimmer. At the Bluetooth technology, the information is extracted and it goes to the dark side. So, but in general, use a credit card. I would say even at retail stores. If you are using a card, they have a chip and the cards have chips in them. So right now, and it's about to change because the dark side is very good in software engineering, just like all the good companies are, is you want to tap. You want to tap. You don't want to stick
that's
it in.
the best way. That's
It
the
is.
safest. Okay.
As we speak.
It's always changing. It was the dark side. It's always revolving. Yes.
But so what you don't want to do is you don't want to slide it and you don't want to stick it in. Now, sometimes on the gas pumps, where you can tap it, sometimes they'll come and they'll drill holes in it so it's not active and it forces you to.
Really? Wow.
But the
I haven't been able to.
is
Yeah.
the safest way. There's a hardware component and a software component. That's the safest way to avoid that because we're pulling skimmers off self-checkout stations like at Walmart here. Wow. It takes 2 seconds under cameras for them just to slide a skimmer in, and until they catch it, every card that is inserted, so not the chip, the information is extracted. You don't want it, so that's one thing in a retail setting. Another, it kind of goes beyond just retail, is you need to be very careful with these self-charging stations, like a DIA, or we need to do a rapid charge. I'm not talking about outlets because a lot of these are being compromised with bad software that you go to do a quick charge and it's extracting information off your phone or it could place some bad software on your device.
Oh my gosh.
I carry a portable battery. Yeah. It's all kinds of brands. And I show these when I talk to groups. I can even do that to charge my laptop for a very short period of time. Public Wi-Fi is never safe. So
I've been doing everything wrong.
We have that. Like it's the airport. You're trying to catch up.
So still kind of retail, but like don't go to Starbucks. And I love Starbucks. Not picking on them. Don't go to Starbucks and sit down and start paying your bills on your phone.
Okay.
Anybody can tap into public Wi-Fi. And so then they can see what you're seeing. So what you want to do is you can use your hotspot on your phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Or you can pay a couple pennies and get a virtual private network, which is more cloud-based. It's so much safer than public Wi-Fi. If you want to sit there and go through Facebook and maybe do a little bit of shopping, fine, but you don't want to go into your
bank account,
financial, accounts.
One thing I wanted to make sure we talked about. You and I just talked about crypto and
Do you only want to talk about crypto?
yeah, let's talk about crypto and gold because, and as it pertains to the older adult population, which is what we serve.
So I'll do that.
Yeah, I think we should.
The only thing on the retail setting, which can be online, because so many people are buying online, is vet out the stores that you're looking to shop. If it's Nordstrom's, you're probably good. But understand where you're buying from, because actually the grandkids, the youngest generation, get scammed more than the seniors, but they just don't have the money. And often it's because of online purchases.
Okay.
You can always go in and Google search and you can put the name of the store, put scam or fraud behind it. And if people have been wronged, they're going to post something. So you'll see if this is a legitimate company or not. So, crypto. So I always talk about crypto in my presentations because the reason I talk about it, it's a grave concern right now for all law enforcement on a global level. Anytime I do have a talk to a group, I ask them if they've heard of crypto. And crypto is the big umbrella. Bitcoin and several other things kind of fall underneath that. But I ask, and I've yet to have anybody say yes, if anyone understands what cryptocurrency is. No one does.
Not me.
Now, can you make money with crypto? Yes. I have friends that have sunk some money in Bitcoin. And as we speak, they're doing well. But crypto has become the the vehicle, so to speak, that scammers are asking people to take their good FDIC insured money and put it into crypto. Long ago, it was checks, then it was wire transfers, then it was gift cards, and now it's crypto.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't reverse it. It's hard to trace. Just like gift cards were a big thing for a long time. You'd read out the number and then the money's gone. No one can get it back. So crypto is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not understood. On the planet right now, according to AARP, it's higher than I thought. There's a standard ATM machine that we've always used, and there's a crypto ATM machine. They're very different. Crypto ATMs don't give you money. They take your money. There's about 45,000 on the planet, and we have about 41,000 in the US. And these crypto ATMs exist in malls, vape shops, liquor stores, and the like. But people are being told by the FBI or Social Security or Xcel Energy, because their power's about to be cut off, to take their money out of an FDIC insured bank, like a Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever, and take it to these machines and convert it and have it go to whatever the imposters where they're telling them it's going to go to.
So are they legitimate machines or are they fake machines?
They are legitimate machines.
But they're using them for bad purposes. Somebody can use them for bad purposes.
Because cryptocurrency is not backed by any government, unlike what we're used to. There's no protections.
Okay.
Typically, really all the time, they're not reversible unless that other party wants to give the money back to you. And
the dark side's not going to give anything back.
I'm not giving
But here's a typical. This is very typical. You're sitting at home. You get a call from the FBI informing you that you sadly have become part. Your information is now part of a criminal operation that's taking place by, let's say, the Mexican cartel. You and hundreds of other people are part of this. Physically, you're at risk. Financially, you're at risk. And they always say they'll talk about the physical later. They won't talk about the financial. And by the way, do you live at this address? Do you have blue shutters? Do you have 3 cottonwood trees? Well, yes, I do. I do. Well, the Mexican cartel knows where you live. I can go to Zillow and find out everything about your house and your house.
Right.
But you hear Mexican cartel, your money's at risk. Physically, you're in harm's way. They know where you live. So, but they tell you that if you take your money until this investigation is over with and give it to them through crypto, which will go to an FBI safe box, then your money will be protected. Oh my gosh. And people are doing this.
Well, it sounds like the scare tactic is
super scary.
Yeah, it's very scary.
Right.
So, but they're very, very, very successful. We just had some new legislation passed here in Colorado. AARP played a big part in it. But I told you where these machines live, where they exist.
Right.
So this was Senate Bill 25 for 2025, 079. So it put restrictions on these crypto ATM machines in the retail setting. The biggest thing that did is it put a limit on how much can be deposited on a daily basis.
Okay.
And then there's also potential penalties for the retailer that has it there. And it's been documented over and over and over where an individual, a senior, 80 years of old age, is sitting there for 1-2 hours putting $80,000 worth of money, and the store owner is bringing a chair up to have them sit.
Oh my gosh.
Because their back hurts. So we're trying to get more restrictions around this. So if nothing else, this is what I want, the message I want to leave on crypto. This is how they're trying to get your money, is if you find yourself in a conversation about crypto, in person, on the phone, through email, you need to walk away ASAP. Because again, they have a team that can answer any objection that you have. If you say on the phone, and we're hearing this nationally, you will lose. You will lose your money. You will be convinced that you need to do this.
Wow.
So, and I would even go so far, even if you have a financial consultant that you've been with and this starts to come up, you really need to do the research. Because as you said, no one's going to take care of your money better than you.
Yeah.
And
wow.
So there's them trying to get you that your account's been hacked, your information is part of a crime, or someone's in your account. those are the three most common. So that then they're trying to get you to put your money over. But it could be someone that's like affinity fraud is something like a lot of churches have me come out and talk about affinity fraud because they think there's someone in the congregation. This is someone that's real in person. That typically this is around investments, and they promise that they can make you money. There's no risk, etc. Well, that's another thing with the crypto. They start to tell you that you are going to make money. They may start pushing out videos of people that have done this and now they're living the good life, and people want to be a part of that. So crypto is one of our biggest concerns. Where it was the gift card, and that still is true, it is crypto.
Oh, that's crypto. What about gold?
So gold is something else you asked me to talk about. We've had several incidents here in Colorado. It's happened in other states. It's kind of the same thing. Sometimes it's like where whatever entity letting you know that you actually have a stake in a gold mine elsewhere, but you need to pay in order to get access, et cetera.
Okay.
Sometimes they're just being forced, instead of taking their money and do it in crypto, to go and actually purchase gold, because we know how stable kind of gold is. But we've had incidents here just at Windcrest where actually Douglas County Sheriff's Office was able to stop it. There's been other situations, because in this case, it is somebody that's showing up at your doorstep pretending to be, let's say, a federal agent trying to help you, there to collect the gold. And again, once it's taken, and there's an operation out of New Jersey, there's one out of Atlanta, there's some hubs where these centers exist, and they're sending out runners to collect.
Wow. Yeah, and they impersonate somebody you should trust. And if you're a trusting generation.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yep.
So what we've talked about a lot of really scary things. If you think you have been a victim of a scam or fraud, or if your parent or something like that, what's the first couple of steps you should take if you've already been a victim, if you feel like you've been a victim?
Well, if you are the victim, if there's a financial loss, you definitely need to file a police report. Every agency that that I know of it here in Arapahoe County, it was true down in Douglas, you can just go to their homepage and it says file a report. Simple. You don't have to call them.
Don't be embarrassed.
Okay.
File the report.
File the report, because it's kind of like a statement of innocence. And then that document, whether they adopt it or not, can be transferred between agencies. So you want to file a report. You want to let the ftc.gov know that identification.
Federal Trade Commission.
Federal Trade Commission. And then you want to go to your credit reports and let them know that this has happened. So you want to report it. I love getting in front of senior groups, and they love to share their stories. But when I ask them if they've reported fraud, that situation, typically they don't. They're embarrassed. They're fearful that their children may take over the bank account or what have you.
Wow.
But it's important, after you file a complaint that you've experienced this, you need to talk about this. There's just something magical about the adult child and the parent. They need to be working together to make sure that all safeguards are in place, even if it's just how you have your house structured, just walking around from a safety fall prevention standpoint. You want to come together and work together, but you want to talk about it. You want to share it with family and friends. You want to tell your friend. The reason when you tell your friends is often, like, if you have a bad experience, her hearing it from you is going to be more than someone here that is with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Tell you the same thing. It's just going to mean more. And understand that this dark side is really good. As good as we are in marketing, as good as we are in software engineering, sales, all that, the dark side is just as good.
So don't be embarrassed, right? Any one of us
embarrassed.
can get scared the day.
And the point is, too, is they're getting really sophisticated.
Yeah.
So no one should feel totally bad if they were scammed. I mean, all the safeguards, all the tips that you've given today, really pay attention to them, but also understand they're really good.
They're very, very good. Very good.
And we're trying to stay a step ahead of the scam.
Right.
Now.
Right.
So
it's important, first and foremost is just stop. Ignore, delete, hang up, tell someone. Start to understand manipulation. That's another great benefit of the adult child and mom and dad sitting down and talking is understanding the different types of manipulation. Again, it could be love. These romance scams go on for months, and the losses are huge, and the suicide rate is high.
That's terrible.
So you understand manipulation. You want to slow down. You don't want to click on a link that's given to you. You don't want to call a number that is given to you. You want to take that slower, responsive approach versus a reactive, and just don't act on impulse. Just that's the main thing. If you sit back and do these things that often just do nothing, then you're in a good spot. They already have a lot of information on you, but you can keep that door closed. You can feel empowered that you are protected. I mean, no one wants a data breach or a hack, but they do happen. So that's what I've talked about. Your information's already out there. They just need more. Just don't give it to them.
Yeah. Don't empower them. You be empowered.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's really good advice. Thank you.
And you've provided us with a wonderful presentation that we'll link to in our podcast notes that could give a lot of these tips, because I know it's hard to try to take notes. You guys are talking kind of fast, but we'll put some of those tips into the podcast.
And if anybody's out there with a group, they can call your office and have you or somebody else come present, right?
Right. Happy to come out and present. I just wanted to end with just one very common scam that's happening, especially to seniors right now. And this is where you're getting an actual call from a bank, your bank. They're pretending to be your bank. And there is a problem with your account. We're getting a lot of reports on this. But they're going to send you a link to verify that it's you.
Oh, that sounds really official.
And even in the text, it says, we will never ask you for the PIN. We've all seen that.
Yep.
But they're on the phone with you pretending to be a representative of the bank, and they're sending you this, and they're having you verbally give them that PIN number. Well, what's happened is they already have your ID and your password for your banking. They're almost there. And then you give them that PIN, that verification code, and then they're in. And then they hang up.
Okay.
We're getting this. The sheriff's offices in the area are getting these reports. It's happening across the state. That is one of the most common. It's the two-factor authentication.
Two-factor authentication. And so
That's what they're doing.
if you give it to them, what's your protection? Is there any protection?
You're just reacting.
Okay.
that
But
point.
there's no.
Because they're going to be in your.
But if they take your money out of your account, do you have any protection?
Well, then you call your bank.
Yeah.
And there's and some.
But with a credit card, you have more protection, right? When you're saying don't shop with like your debit card, was that why you set it up?
Protections there too. It's just again with the credit card, it's just a lot easier to dispute because we know how they're structured differently.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to point that out. That
No,
it's one
thank
of the
you.
most.
That sounds so official.
That does happen.
I can see my.
But it's true. When they say we will never ask you for this.
Yeah.
But in the moment, you're fearful, and so you're ignoring that, and you give it out. So just be careful.
Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do.
Sure.
Thank you so much for the work that you do to protect
Yeah.
Coloradans and people in the 18th district, right?
18th Judicial District.
18th Judicial. I can't say that word. Judicial.
Right.
And thank you for joining us for this conversation. We really appreciate it. Thank you for all that you do to protect all of us in this state. And thank you to everybody who joined us today for this conversation. As Pam said, we'll have links in the podcast notes. Please check them out. Please share, subscribe to this podcast, and share this episode in particular with other people, family members and friends. It could be information that could really protect someone in the future. And thank you all for joining us today for Aging Unscripted. A reminder that aging is indeed unscripted. Each of us has a journey that is as individual as we are. And we know that not everyone gets the gift of aging. It is a gift that we need to honor and celebrate. Thank you.